Good morning, class. I'm going to be passing out a worksheet for you today that you'll be using in your lesson. We are going to be learning to count by twos and count in groups. If everyone could come to the floor so we can start our lesson, I'm going to show you a first little video that will help you guys remember how to count by twos. I need your eyes and ears. Thank you. Can anyone tell me what an even number is? Yes, an even number is a number that can be divided equally into two groups. So can anyone give me an example of an even number? 2, perfect. 2 can be divided into two groups because one can go into one group and one can go into the other. There's no extra that can be left out. Now turn to the smartboard so you can see the video that I'm going to show you guys today. It's going to be a video on counting by twos. And if you get the hang of it, you can sing along. If not, you can just sit quietly in your spot. And then after the video, I'll be resuming to my lesson, so please stay quiet. All right, we just finished the video. I'm going to ask 3 students 3 questions. And if you get the question right, you'll get a nickel to put in your jar. The first question is, what is an even number? Great. The second question is, can someone count to 10 using even numbers? Awesome. And the third question is, can someone count to 20 using even numbers? Okay, remember what we learned yesterday? We were counting by fives. Can the whole class count with me? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Counting by fives means you're adding 5 to each previous number. So 5 plus 5 is 10, so you would count 5, 10, add 5 to that, 15, and so on. Does everyone remember that from yesterday? So now that we're learning about counting by twos and even numbers, we're going to be adding 2 to each number that we're saying. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. I'm going to put a PowerPoint up on the board and we're going to go along with this. If I call your name, you can come up to the smartboard and move around the little images that I have on there for each slide if you're sitting correctly and quietly. Okay, if everyone could just turn their attention over to the board, we're going to learn a little bit more about counting, and if you're sitting quietly, I may ask you to answer some questions and you could get some nickels to go in your jar. After I do the PowerPoint, you're going to go back to your seats with the worksheet and we're going to work on it as a group in your groups. But as for right now, you can just sit crisscross and listen to the PowerPoint. So we're going to be learning about counting. Does anybody know what an even number is? Yes, an even number is a number that is evenly divisible by the number 2. So that means that you can split it equally into groups. Is 5 an even number? Why not? Yes, because if 5 was evenly split up into groups, we would have 2 in one group and 2 in the other group, and 1 would be left over. Is 4 an even number? Yes, because you can have 2 equally in one group and 2 equally in the other. For example, right here, we have 4 dogs. Can anyone tell me how many groups 4 dogs would go into? Yes, 2. So you have 2 groups, and you have 2 dogs in each group. Can anyone tell me how many blue squares are shown on the screen? Yes, there's 6. How would you split those 6 blocks into groups, and can they be split evenly? You're right. So we could do 3 groups of 2, where you would have 1 in the second block in one group, another block in another group, and another 2 blocks in the third group. Or we could split 3 into 2 groups. We would have 3 blocks in one group and 3 blocks in the other. As long as they're evenly spread and there's enough for each group evenly to be distributed, it can be an even number. So 6 can be split into 2 groups. There will be no remainders and there's no one left out. With 5, there's always going to be that extra 5th one left out because 2 can be in a group and another can be in the group. All right, we're going to count by twos to 30 as a class. We're going to do it slowly. We're not going to be wild. All right, ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Awesome job. Can someone tell me how many green squares are on the screen? You're right, 2. How would you split those 2 squares up? Is it an even number? Is 2 an even number? Or can we not split it up equally? You're right, you can split it up. It is an even number. You split it up into 2 groups. One of the blocks would be in one group and one of the blocks would be in another. For the purple squares, I see there's 1, 2, 3. Can we split those up into even groups? Is 3 an even number? You're right, it is not. How many apples are on this board? Yes, there are 4 apples. How could you split those 4 apples into groups? And how do you know that 4 is an even number? Yes, so you would split the 2 into one group and the other 2 into the other, and we know it is an even number because you can distribute them equally and evenly. A recap. Can someone tell me what an even number is in their own definition? How you learned it today? Awesome. And can someone count to 20 by 2s with me? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Great job. Does anybody have any questions before we go back to our seats and do our worksheets? If you answered the questions correctly today during the PowerPoint, come see me at my desk. I'll give you a nickel to put in your jar. When you go back to your tables, you're going to see a pile of pasta on your desk. Yes, I know that's silly. I need you and your group members to split up the pieces of pasta into equal groups and see how many equal groups you can do with the pasta given at your table. When you are finished doing this activity, please raise your hand as a group quietly and I will come over and check your work. Great job. So you had the number 6, you had 6 noodles, and you split them into 2 groups with 3 noodles in each. Awesome. Okay, you had 8 and you split them into 2 groups of 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Awesome job. Okay, you had 10 and you split them into 2 groups of 5. Perfect. Great job. Once you're done with your project and I came over and told you that your group was good, please pull out the worksheet that I gave out to you in the beginning of the class and you can work on that on your own. If you do have questions, come over to my desk and ask me personally. Don't ask your neighbor. This is some independent practice that you should be working on your own and you should be testing what we learned today. So for the anticipatory set of this part of the project, I basically just went over the PowerPoint with the class and kind of taught them the lesson. After that, I did guided practice with them. The guided practice was the part with the noodles where they broke out into their groups and they equally split the noodles up into even numbers. And then their independent practice is the worksheet that I gave in the beginning of the class that they will be doing on their own after they finish the guided practice. It's a worksheet where they just add the groups up and ending up with even numbers in the end. Once they finish with that worksheet, they can come check it with me and then they can put it in their go home folder to go take home to their parents. For the closure part of this process, the students should be able to complete the worksheet with the minimal questions from the teacher. After learning the counting by 2s and splitting up objects into even groups, they should be able to sort and count into groups, figure out how many different objects they can fit evenly into groups, count by 2s, and know what an even number means. After the lesson, the students will complete the worksheet and then they ask the students what they learned. And then I'm going to ask them to give me a recap. And once they answer, I will begin to remind them what they learned and just remind them about all the facts that we learned about even numbers today. I might even play the video that I played at the beginning of class because I know that the class really liked that. And then after the lesson is done, the students will put their materials back into their desk and they'll come back to the carpet for our next lesson.